This podcast is kindly brought to you by M&J Zimbabwe, SEPA, Soft Smart, Red Circle HLO Solutions.
Welcome to your favorite podcast once more. This is yet another exciting episode dropping this week on your favorite podcast. And my name is Steve, and I'm always joined by the one and only, the Chatted Friend. Mr. Jerry, how are you?
I'm okay. How's it?
How are you feeling today?
Very fine.
It was cold some 2-3 days ago.
Very
Did
cold.
you survive?
Yeah. I heard someone was actually saying, someone was crying out loud on social media saying, I think there's someone who's stolen. Also, with the amount of corruption which is in Africa and the corruption which is in Zimbabwe, someone might have actually stole winter money. But I think that person actually is retained the money in July.
Okay.
June was hot.
Yeah, June was
like
hot.
April.
June was very
hot. But
okay, so they had
very
stolen the winter money.
The
Now
winter
they
money.
brought it in
They
July.
brought it in July.
Very
That's why the
interesting.
code is doubled.
Very interesting. Yeah, I always find Zimbabweans in particular to be very interesting people. We make fun out of serious situations.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think maybe it's a coping mechanism for us to get by certain situations that we come through, and then we just make fun of it, and then we move on.
Yeah, I think, and also you notice that I think because of the introduction of social media, everyone is trying to be funny.
Okay.
That's what I noticed. Everyone is trying to be a comedian,
in the name
even
of
those who are not
content
even
creation.
funny.
Yeah.
So people they love likes, they like engagement. So whatever is going to bring likes and comments, people would rather post that.
Do you think we should convert this podcast into a funny kind of podcast to get more followers?
We should have serious issues. There should be few people discussing serious issues.
And you want us to be the few?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can always be part of that few people club and join us by subscribing and liking these videos. It really helps out with the YouTube algorithm so that we can pop up in everybody else's YouTube channel. Yes. So yeah, diving into the topic for the day. There was a time I was going through Twitter, and then I saw a post that you put out there, and I then later realized that you had actually sent me a video in my inbox of that same tweet, but you had sent it to my inbox. Then I realized, no, I must have seen this somewhere, where you were asking that there are white kids in our primary schools, and as little as kindergarten, there are preschool kids who are white, and then you go to primary school, and then you've got your secondary school, and then we even have them up to high school. But then when we get to university, they suddenly disappear.
Yeah.
Like, where do they go? That was the question.
Yeah, that's the
and
question.
where do they go to?
Yeah.
Do you have any background thoughts to that?
People are answering. Some they say they go to Europe. Some are saying they get enrolled into agriculture colleges. But the truth is, what I've noticed is, because like when you go to the gym, visit semi-level gym, that's where I go, it's almost 50-50. Just like probably it's St. George's, just like it's St. John's, it's almost 50 blacks, 50 whites in the gym. But when it's now university, it's probably one white person. And if there's a white guy at UZ, is in the veterinary department, not in medicine, not in accounting, not in commerce, but they're in the veterinary department. So what I noticed, my analysis to that is the difference. We're not being racist, but that's the truth. We want to speak the truth. Whether it's
Absolutely.
very difficult to swallow,
Yes.
whether people are going to think these things are not supposed to be discussed, but we need to talk about those things, because we've noticed that those are the things which are affecting our industry. We end up blaming a lot of things, but we are actually to blame because of the standards which we have set for ourselves as probably in the name of education, in the name of school, or in the name of degrees and diplomas. The main difference which I noticed, white people, when they're doing something, whether it's soccer, they're doing it in order for them to learn, not to pass. That's where the main difference is.
Okay.
So when they're getting enrolled into agriculture colleges, it's either is their father or probably their clan is into agriculture. When they're into engineering, they try to get into the best schools for engineering. And unfortunately, Zimbabwe doesn't have a best school for engineering. That's why you don't see them in engineering. They try to get into best schools in Europe for engineering or in Australia. When it's medicine, they also try to get into the best schools for medicine. Why should we be lying to ourselves that we've got best schools? But why are these guys disappearing? Because why? They saw it as a dummy. That's what I think.
Someone actually highlighted and said that the reason why they disappear when we get to tertiary education is because they know what they did to the system.
Exactly.
They know what they did to the system, so they tend to migrate outside. And also, I like what you've said. I remember back when I was in college, you know, we were told that university is the easiest thing in the world. You know, when you get there, A-level, guys, just work hard and pass A-level. When you go to university, it's going to be easy. So yeah, we worked hard and we passed our A-levels and then we went to university. Then we get there, then it's a different animal. It wasn't easy, like they said. You know, you are having to deal with a lot of modules that change over and over with every semester. And also the other thing is there's a lack of coherence when you talk about tertiary. Once you do a module, the chapter closes and then you move on to the next set of modules, and half the time they're not related in any way. So we then realize, as a coping mechanism, we then realize that we don't need to necessarily know this information. We could just cram, pass and forget.
You get what I mean?
So that's what we did. So the reason why I brought this up, I remember one particular class when I was doing engineering mathematics. So there's engineering mathematics 1, 2, and 3. So we did the same system, cram, pass and forget. Then come the second semester, we are now doing engineering mathematics 2. And guess what the favorite phrase for the lecturer was? Like we did in engineering mathematics 1 or from engineering. So now we had to go back and redo the things that we had just shoved under, cram, pass and forget. So I think that's the kind of approach that we take as a people. We don't do things to learn. We are so obsessed with certificates.
Yes.
So obsessed.
You can say that again, but before we delve into that, I would like to ask you, you're doing software engineering. Were there any practicals?
Few of them. We spend most of our time doing theoretical work. That's the honest truth.
So now we are now producing software engineers who cannot even develop any software. So you find out that most of the stuff which you're going to learn probably in the universities, you're now learning on your own. How can I develop an app? But your lecturer, sometimes the main or the dean of your faculty doesn't even know how to develop an app.
Absolutely.
But this guy is the one who is running the whole department. And he's saying I'm a software engineer. I was very disappointed when I when I noticed that there's a guy who was lecturing digital marketing. But I'm asking him, Doc, are you on Facebook? He's saying, I'm not on Facebook. I don't do Facebook. I don't do LinkedIn. But you're lecturing digital marketing. What are you lecturing? You get what I mean? So like what you're saying, if we come back to what you're saying, it's the obsession. I wrote about this in the Chartered Vendor, and I'm so emotional when I'm talking about this because why? You get into interviews with people who are saying, I'm a marketer and I specialize in digital marketing. Then you ask them, how many social media platforms? Then they say, I'm only on Facebook and Instagram. So how are you a digital marketer?
How are you a digital marketer? Yeah.
They don't even know that you can market through a website. Because why? People are spending time doing like what my brother in South Africa said, nonsense stuff.
In fact, we have a video that we'd like to show you, and then we get to have a conversation.
Yeah, probably can play it. Huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's show it. Let's play it.
Let us play it. Let us just start the video.
Someone must speak the truth, and we must be honest about these things. So we can't have black children born in debt because they want systematically to trap us and to continue the slavery, systematic slavery, because slavery is not physical anymore. It's in the systems, the religious systems, the economic systems, the political systems, the education system. Nonsense, this education system. There's nothing that you're teaching our kids. You and I are product of nonsense education systems, boo. Somebody gotta tell them. 30% of nothing. Even if they say pass mark is 80%, it's 80% of nothing. There's a German kid right now, as you and I speaking, subject to mining. But when you look at his continent, wherever he comes from, there's no minerals underground. But the boys and girls are being taught about mining and minerals. Me and you, there was no subject called mining in high school. What mining were you taught in high school? What's the process to start a mine? Just tell me basics of mining. But mining is a strong pillar, probably amongst the strongest pillars of our economy. So that means that there's a child in Germany somewhere that's being prepared, in Asia somewhere that's being prepared to come and run this economy, while your kids are being prepared to come and work for those German kids that are going to come here in future. Because your kids are being taught how to do nonsense, how to label an insect. Insect insecting. Listen, our economy in this country, it's agriculture. Our economy in this country, I can even break down what agriculture is. Mining, manufacturing. Why aren't those things primary subjects in primary school, in high school, so that you've got a basic understanding of your own economy? That means some people must come from somewhere to run this economy, because your kids were never taught anything about this economy. So we mustn't even dare to want to argue with me, not you personally, anyone, about the education system or any other system in this country. It's designed to continue systematic slavery and suppress the people of the day and make sure that the future belongs to those who are prepared for it. Definitely not your children.
Those are some powerful, bold statements.
Do you know this guy?
No, I don't, but I know he's from South Africa.
Yes, because I think he was being interviewed by DJ Spool. Yeah. What do you think about that? I think even our own, I've listened to Maponga, Mr. Joshua, Bishop Mr. Joshua Maponga. I think he says similar things.
That's very true.
Because yes, as much as we like to complain, but the other side now is it because we don't have the capacity to change our education system? Because yes, we can continue to be crying babies. I like his angle. I like what you were saying. But is it the time whereby we can say, as Africans, as Zimbabweans, we're a sovereign state, Zambians, they're independent? I think if from the president, all our systems are being run by the blacks. Why is that? We've got a lot of, I think there was a Ramashanga commission, then we heard that commission is now being implemented. We now have the 5.0 education syllabus, etc. Are we telling each other the truth if we say, because we can only, there's a time we should stop blaming the white people. Yes, they saw it as a dummy, but can we still say we cannot change that dummy? Okay. Or there's someone who's benefiting from the dummy.
Of course, someone has to benefit, because like our brother rightfully said, if we are the owners, we are the ones who reside in a land that beneath it has got a lot of minerals.
Do you know anything about mining?
I do not know, unfortunately. I don't know anything about mining. We were basically told about the minerals found in Zimbabwe, in the Great Dike. I can name them off the top of my head. But if you tell me what's the process
basics
for just the purification, if you ask me about the purification, I will know it because I did sciences. We used to do that topic, purification of gold. But just asking one randomly, they may not be able to recite to you top of their head the purification process of.
What he's saying is very important.
Very important indeed.
Our kids, why are they still being taught? They are being taught nonsense like what he said. Because imagine if a kid is going to be taught about mining from ECD. What do you think is going to happen to this economy?
Of course.
If our kids are going to be taught about manufacturing from a tender age, like what he was saying, if our kids are going to be exposed to agriculture, real agriculture, not those composts which you used to do as practicals in primary, that's what you used to do. I think my practical it was primary. It was primary.
Secondary.
It was secondary, not even primary. Yeah. You were just asked to collect dung, grass. You create a compost. That was a project.
Yes.
Only that.
And you're done.
But a kid in Germany is being taught how to grow a crop, what is needed. They are taught about lime. They are taught about fertilizers. Everything. But us, we're being taught nonsense. Like what you rightfully said.
It's indeed it's a bunch of nonsense. And if you try to look at how that has affected us, you know, like you said, the slavery is no longer physical, where we are working in physical chains. But the mental slavery, our minds are still enslaved. We still have this entitlement to our former masters, who are the white people. We have this superiority complex where we think that they are superior than us. And it's further cemented when you look at, like recently I was seeing pictures of kids who were having different career days in their schools. And guess what? They were coming dressed as the professions that they would want to become when they grow up. I saw no one who was looking like the primary pillars that runs our economy, like
No one wants
mining,
to. No one
agriculture.
wants to wear.
They were all in the services.
No one wants to wear gear, mining gear.
Yeah, they were
No
all
one
the-
wants to wear agriculture gear.
Yes.
No one wants to be even a musician.
Yes.
No one wants to be an actor.
Yes.
They all want to be doctors. They all want to be
Pilots,
accountants.
lawyers.
They want to be pilots. So who will be running
Yes.
the pivot of the economy?
They are all congested in the services industry.
Exactly. Everyone wants a white collar job. And we will be running all these jobs in our, like, right now, if we can talk about being occupied these offices, but I tell you, the real money is in the soil. That's why you notice most of the successful people, when they are now ministers, when they are now MPs,
They fight for the
they
land.
fight for the land. They want to get into the farms. They want to get into mining. So who is going to be controlling all these pillars of the economy? If we're still teaching our kids that we need to be doctors, we need to be soldiers, we need to be police officers, we need to... Someone has said to me in this other comment, he felt like I was bashing education, and he said, by the way, education, this podcast is actually bringing education. My brother in South Africa was giving education. Education can be accessed on Facebook. Education can be accessed on LinkedIn. But the unfortunate part, most of us, we think that education can only be accessed in schools.
That's a big
So you are
problem.
saying that wait until when you're sick, you need a doctor. Then someone was also saying, wait until you have a criminal record, or someone is suing you, you need a lawyer. That's when you're going to see that education is important. Personally, I think that's nonsense. Why do I say so? It's only that doctors, that profession is controlled by the government. Worldwide, it's controlled. If it wasn't controlled, we're going to have doctors without even degrees.
Absolutely.
Because there's a guy who was practicing medicine
exactly.
in the UK for 22 years
Without
a certificate. So it's still possible. But it's because right now there are people, there are lawyers. When we can get into the court, some of them we can just see that this guy can actually accompany me to jail. Because they don't have any
They don't have any experience. You know, Anzi, if you are in court and then your lawyer approaches you and tells you,
and that,
just know that they are leading you to jail.
and that is happening in real life every day. It's happening. So it means that these guys, they notice that no, for us to make sure that our profession is going to be intact, no one is going to compete against us, let us make sure that everyone is going to practice. They need a practicing certificate. Those areas, doctors, those areas are protected. But I tell you today, if those areas are going to be opened to everyone, we're going to have good doctors without certificates.
Absolutely.
We can have good lawyers without certificates, because they can still learn law on internet. They can still learn medicine on internet. I've noticed many doctors are trying to opening YouTube, trying to do operations. They are copying on internet. So what can stop Steve from learning medicine on internet? What can stop a kid from learning medicine on internet? So I think every profession, engineering, can be learned these days without going to schools.
Absolutely.
So we confuse schools with education. And most of the schools, that's where this slavery is coming from.
And you know what? Now that you've mentioned it, I've also noticed that if somebody does something or learns a skill without them expecting a certificate in the end, they do it so well.
Exactly.
That's such that you can find somebody who will tell you that I've got a marketing degree, you know, I specialize in digital marketing, because they've got a certificate for it. You ask them, so where's your certificate? They'll show you, But there's someone who just picked the art from just using the social media platforms.
Exactly.
And they are better, way better, because they understand the platforms. For them, it's not about the certificate, but it's about mastering the skill.
Mastering the skill, and you have to gain the skill.
Exactly.
And like it was like, even with me, I never did public speaking. I was actually fired from public speaking class because they said, you suck. You're coming from rural areas. We want people who speak Shonglish here. You get what I mean? Then, but I taught myself that no, I want to speak, and I'm going to speak. If I'm going to break my English, that's still fine. I'm going to do it because I had the passion. And because of the passion, here I am. People are now paying for me to speak. I'm being paid almost on daily basis. I'm getting inquiries of people who want me to speak in their events. Why? It's because it's coming from the heart. I'm teaching myself because I want to use that skill. But our education system is teaching people just to learn, pass, and forget. They don't treat it as a skill, as a survival skill, or as a profession. Unfortunately, when we talk of these things, we forget that we are going for the break.
See you on the break. Don't you dare change the channel. Stay tuned.
Hello, welcome to Soft Smart Solution. My name is Takuzwa. Today I'm going to be talking about Sage 50C Pastel Partner. Why choose Sage 50C Pastel Partner? Number one, you are saying you have the freedom. Work how, when, and whenever you want through secured cloud access. Number two, you have control. Make quick and informed decisions through smart performance dashboard and powerful reporting tools. Number three, productivity. Boost the productivity of your team through various features which includes Sage Contact, Sage Capture, Sage 50 Cloud Intelligence Reporting, Cloud Backup, accept payments from your customers, and direct benefits. Thank you so much for watching. Don't hesitate to contact us at Soft Smart Solutions, where we work smart and efficient.
Back to your favorite podcast. We're taking a short break and time flies. We had gotten consumed into the conversation and we almost forgot that we're supposed to give you a break to get a glass of water, grab some cookies, and then join us. And if you're joining us just now, please subscribe and share the video and like as well. It also helps with the algorithm so that other people can also find the video. And we were talking about the education system, the status quo, challenging the mentality that's out there, qualifications and certifications versus earning a skill. And you are highlighting some key components of the conversation to say we need to change the conversation and learn the skills that go with our economy and not just adopt things that do not apply to us. Because what that's going to do to us is we're going to have a bunch of people complaining that akunamabasa, and indeed jobs won't be there because we tapped into a territory that is not ours.
Exactly.
We should focus on things that speak into the pillars that hold this economy together.
Exactly. And as you might know, one of our subsidiary under M&J, it does HR. We've got vacancies, but we are failing to fill those vacancies.
Why?
There are no people qualified to do those jobs.
Okay, wait.
There are plenty of vacancies, I tell you, especially in the areas of sales, marketing, and engineering, and but the people to do the job, we're just getting certificates.
But they don't have
They don't have any clue of how they're supposed to be doing those jobs. So it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. That's why you see even the skills which are exporting in the world, it's mostly the basics. Those basics, like everyone wanted to be a nurse, everyone wanted to be a doctor, everyone wanted to be an accountant. Hence, as we are globe tottering, that's the only thing which we can understand as African. That's why you see, even in the UK, you never hear that they were hiring an engineer from Zimbabwe. It's very rare.
It's very rare.
One or two cases.
Absolutely.
But we're saying we can export those skills if we are going to be. And we don't need to even export those skills to America. We don't even need to export those skills to UK. We need those skills for our own economy.
We need them here.
Yes.
So then the other thing that always comes...
Just remember that day, sorry to cut you short. Just remember that day when we did this other episode and I'd sprayed this air freshener and everyone in the room, including the videographers, they
were choking.
They're choking. There's someone who claimed that I can mix this.
I remember. We didn't even put much of that air freshener, but we were choking off it. So yeah, it really speaks volumes into how we put our skills together. You claim you're a chemical engineer, but you have zero experience in manufacturing chemicals, and all you have is just a certificate perhaps. And we've got this tendency of lying just to get the job. It's when you then are expected to perform.
And you're exposed.
That's when you realize that I do not know anything.
And we also want titles. I think the other problem which is now happening in universities, I still remember back in the days, you'd have your degree first. You get into the industry, you get certain experience. Then after that, after some certain years, and years of experience, you now get back to the college. You can now do the masters. After you've got experience and after a recommendation probably from your supervisor for you to do a masters. Right now, just because people, they don't want to say it, but I'll say it here. Education, it's a business. That's what people they think that education is just something which is
service offered by the government. No, it's a business.
It's a business.
You are right.
So for a business to be profitable, we're just now getting numbers into the universities. Previously, we used to have only one university offering law. Right now, I think there are now 4 of them producing lawyers.
5.
So, are we worried about the quality of the lawyers we're going to produce as a country, or we're just worried about we now have many people with degrees?
It's a game of numbers. If they were worried about the quality, they would have never gotten this far, but it's a game of numbers, because I actually noticed that with one of the learning institutions that we have, you know, these days there's been a lot of talk about human rights, equality between men and women. So I was observing the prospectus for one particular university. They offer medicine. The bar is 15 points or more for gentlemen, and for women they dropped it down to 12. So what they were saying is that there's a shortage of female doctors. So to get more female doctors into the field, let's reduce the standards so that they can fit. So now I'm asking, if you reduce the standards of acceptance into a program, are we not also reducing the standards of the industry? Because whoever came up with that standard in the first place to say 15 points for medicine, they knew what they were doing. So, and this is regardless of whether the doctor is male or female. Because eventually when you get to the surgery, if a patient comes in and they've had an accident and an emergency operation needs to be performed, it doesn't state that this kind of operation is for males or for females. They'll ask for a doctor who's qualified to do this. And you took someone by virtue of mercy trying to feed this normal construct.
Our fellow brothers and sisters
to the grave and to the prisons for our lawyers. So and also another interesting thing that I picked. The Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education, they introduced the Education 5.0 and they put in the color system, and that has been notorious for many parents. So I've always wondered. I started wondering when I noticed a group, I was in a WhatsApp group and someone put an advert. Guess what they were advertising? I can do colors for your children. And we are talking of a university graduate, probably jobless.
Exactly.
And now they want to do colors
for kids.
So who is learning now? Are we not even affecting the education system even more? Because remember, the person instigating this is not the student, it's the parent. You are the parent who's saying, I know someone who can do colors for my kids. You're paying them, they do the color, you give your kid, they submit and they pass. So what are we doing?
And the other thing, like what it just remind me, I think when you're going through Border Road, I'll take a picture of a billboard which is written, we do dissertation.
So I think it's some level of mockery to employers, because I now have to sit across the table and interview someone whose dissertation was written for them by someone. And they got the number from a billboard. And they even allowed, it's if we wanted to arrest that, because I believe in universities it's academic fraud. It's an academic criminal to copy and get other people to do.
But it's being advertised.
It's advertised. There is even a phone number.
A phone number. Why
aren't those people being arrested? Exactly. They need to be brought in for questioning.
No, we know if many people have opened offices to do dissertations.
I know, right?
So is it right now? There's someone who's now saying there are entrepreneurs as we speak who are doing CV writing.
They're making money off.
Make money through CV writing, coaching people how to do interviews, etc. So we're saying all those skills, aren't they were supposed to be done in primary, in secondary level?
Yes.
I was supposed to be taught how to do my CV in primary level. I was supposed to be taught how to write an email in primary level. I was supposed to be taught how to do an interview in primary level.
That's true.
But I'm now being taught that we are now having entrepreneurs who are actually thinking of an idea and to how they can get money from people by CV writing, interview coaching, dissertations. Come on. So we cannot continuously be crybabies. And we need to say as Africans, or as rather black Africans, let us now think. I think Dumisani Ngube has put it right. Africa must think.
Yeah, we
And
definitely
for
need
Africa to think, it should stop blaming the colonialists. They should stop blaming the system. I think Paul Lumumba has actually rightfully said it. There's Africa, there's USA Africa Summit. 54 African presidents. They go to sit with one president. Why can't they just
Actually,
send a representative?
the president is not there. He sends a delegation.
A delegation.
Yeah, I remember I was following that forum closely because I wanted to understand some dynamics that were happening with that forum and stuff. So yeah, I found it to be interesting that how do 55 or more heads of state gather in one room to meet a US delegation? Like, what's so important? What's so special about that?
Yeah.
We have our own economy, and you know what? The most thing that disturbs me is we always attend and show up to these summits that have got nothing to do with Africa. But here we have got the Africa Free Continental Trade Area. No one talks about it.
No one talks about
we
it.
rarely meet up for that.
Exactly.
And that's our ticket to get out of poverty as Africa, as a people.
But we are consumed into their business. We are called into these nonsensical meetings, discuss nothing, coming back to Zimbabwe, coming back to Zambia, coming back to DRC with nothing.
Absolutely.
But we are saying we can copy from what our brothers and sisters are doing in Rwanda, get into Kigali, with some of the things we don't need. Guys, we cannot continue blaming white people.
Absolutely.
We cannot continue blaming them. They've given us a system which we are running. People, they like saying government is the people on top or the politicians. No, government is us. If you are still throwing papers through your window in your car, what are you doing to the environment? We should start cleaning our environment. We should start cleaning our cities ourselves. Take full responsibility, make our environment great, and show that for sure, as Zimbabwe, we're a country with a higher literacy rate, we're an educated economy. But I think what our brother rightfully said, when we did 80%, it was 80% of nonsense. And it's showing.
Yeah, it's showing.
It's showing that it's 80% of nonsense because some of the decisions we are making as people, we are wondering, what did we actually do in this education system which you're talking about? I think we've got work to do as Africans.
Absolutely. And that brings us to the end of this episode. You can comment down below how you feel and what you think we need to do with our education system in order to carry our economy going forward. We need to move away from the laziness that we have, because laziness is the presence of a valid reason. Exactly. As long as you've got a valid reason for not doing something, you'll not do it.
You cannot do it.
If it's raining and you feel like you don't want to go to work, you can say it was raining.
And tomorrow it's cold. Like right now it's cold.
It was cold.
Tomorrow it will be very hot.
Exactly. So as long as we are still blaming white people or the oppression that happened before we got our independence, we'll always have a valid reason for not moving forward with every other system of our, not just the education system, but every other system that governs our economy. Otherwise, thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video, and don't forget also to come through on the comment section and share your thoughts on how we can carry our education system going forward. Otherwise, from me to you, it's a goodbye.